Hi, everybody. It's me. I just wanted to hop on and do a quick introduction for today's interview. This week, I interviewed Kelly Moore, and she is the owner of Clockwork Games and Events here in Bryan College Station. It's a game store focused on catering to tabletop games, board games, all kinds of really cool stuff that gets people involved and keeps people thinking. So I'm really excited for you to find out more about this store. It is such a gem, and Kelly is wonderful. So click play to see what she has to say about her business.
Hello, everybody. It's me. I am here with Kelly Moore. She is the owner of Clockwork Games and Events. Make sure I get that right.
Mhm.
I didn't know about Kelly's wonderful business until a couple years ago, and I think way more people need to know about it. So I wanted to bring her on to kind of talk about what she does and the kind of things, the kind of people that she serves. So Kelly, I guess just tell us about your business and what it is that you guys do.
Hi. Okay. Well, we are Clockwork Games and Events, like you said, and we do everything gaming. We are the premier store for gaming in town. We have a pretty large store with a lot of communities that work with us.
Gotcha.
We try and do stuff like games like Magic the Gathering or
Okay.
Warhammer. We do a lot of board games,
Sure.
Dungeons and Dragons. Some people will recognize those things, and
Yeah,
then some people will be like blank stare outside of board games.
right. Well, initially, when I learned about your business, somebody said, it's a board game store. And I'm like Monopoly? And then I realized, my husband plays some different kinds of games. And I was like, oh, okay, I understand. So, but
Right.
like the first time I walked into your store, I walked in and it's gigantic. And so, what, how do people, are the kind of games that people play there more like they have to be social, kind of like in-person type stuff, or what's kind of the vibe there?
Really, it's all about people. Games are about people, about socializing, anything like that, about education. There's so much going on in what you can get out. If it's easier, we can talk mainly about board games because
Yeah.
board games can relate to everyone. The board games we have in the store range from uh, Monopoly-esque
Sure.
kind of games that everybody would have some idea about. And then it also is hobby games. So
Okay.
lots of times people go from a Monopoly and Clue type games to Catan, which is
Okay.
pretty well known,
Yeah.
pandemic, stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then if you want to, you can graduate into these hardcore games that are a
Yeah.
little bit longer, a little bit more strategic, that kind of
Sure.
stuff.
So when you say hobby games, I personally know there's a whole other side to just the playing of the games. Can you tell the watchers a little bit about the hobby aspect of some of it, if you?
Sure. Well, it's really interesting. Everybody's got their hobbies, right?
Right.
We find that anything that you can do as far as playing with other people really registers
Sure.
with others, whether that be putting families together in social games,
Hmm.
being friends, being able to play up to 75 players in one of the games, which is a werewolf game.
That's
Um,
crazy.
it's pretty crazy. And there's all sorts of ones for everything that you're into. So Warhammer is an example. Think army miniatures,
Okay.
right? That you put together and you paint.
Right.
But way more advanced than that. They
Yeah.
have uh, big ones that go from here. They have little ones. We have special tables for those Warhammer gaming upstairs because they bring out terrain,
Yeah.
I mean, all sorts. It's so involved.
So
It's
there's
amazing.
like there's an art aspect to it as
Yes,
well as just the game, or not just the game, but there's an art aspect to
right.
it. So
There's even
you guys
miniature
have, see,
things.
here's my cat.
Oh, nice. I love cats.
She's crazy. So, but you guys also have in your store, you have like supplies and things like that for people that want to pursue the painting and kind of stuff like that,
Yes,
right?
yes. We carry more paints than anyone in town. We're trying to make sure that we have every color because
Right.
it's very particular and it's very unique
Sure.
because you can take any model and you can make it yours. You don't have to make it the way that it comes in the box. You know, you
Yeah.
can use all those paints. One of the things that people do is D&D manager. So Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is a role-playing game in which you work with the rest of the team and you build your own characters. Well, there's little miniatures as well. Things like an archer or a beholder, or, you know, all sorts of geeky, nerdy stuff. And
I love it.
we specialize in nerdy, geeky stuff. That's exactly right. And people paint those. We have a painting contest going on in the next couple of weeks where people buy a kit, take them home, and then we post them online.
Oh, that's cool.
And then everybody gets to vote, and then prizes are given. But people really like doing that because it's using creativity.
Sure.
And it's making it your own.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of people like to be like that aspect of creating it and making it personal to you. So I guess that kind of leads me into my next question. What got you into this? Like, what made you want to open up a gaming store here in Bryan College Station?
Well, in 2000s, there was a place in town where my husband and the other business owner always went to play.
Sure.
And we wanted something bigger. We wanted something more inclusive. We wanted something where everybody was welcome and felt comfortable. That is something that I'll probably say several times because it's really, really important. No matter what walk of life that you come to, whether you have a lot of social skills or not, or whatever that's going on, there's got to be a place for you in town. And in College Station, there are wonderful places, but not as many places where you can grab 100 people, put them in a store, and have them all be able to game whatever that they want, you know, meeting people. And so many long-term relationships come from things like playing in the store.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So when did you guys open the store?
2010.
2010. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Have you and your family always been gamers, or was that something that kind of came as a result of you guys opening this store? Or
no, well, I'll tell you, all three of us are really, really big gamers. We've all done our own thing. The other owner is he does Magic the Gathering.
Gotcha.
His collection is insane. Think baseball cards.
Okay.
As far as value. These things can be worth thousands of dollars. They can be worth 50 cents. You just never know. You never know. And people collect them. And it's amazing what people can do with that. My husband and I have been big. He's been playing Magic as well, but we're big board game. We have to admit, I will admit that we have 160 board games at my house right now.
Where do you store all of those? Because we have a lot of board games. I want to know, how do you store them?
We have a separate room. We have a separate room that has dog stuff, and it has 160 board games.
That's amazing. That's like life goals right there. Have a room just for your games and your dogs.
We may have a problem. I'm not exactly sure. It's a bit of an obsession.
I mean, you own a store, so I feel like at least you're like in the same vein of, hobby. Your hobby is at least what you like to do. So, what would you say is your favorite part of owning your business and owning this store?
The people.
The people.
If we don't care about the people, we might as well not have a store. Right. I don't ever understand any store that comes in that doesn't focus on the communities and the people. And in our case, the communities are essential. Mm-hmm. They're essential for our store. They're essential for people wanting to get in. Most of the time, you'll see them in Facebook groups. So for the Warhammer or board games, there are Facebook groups where people get together. They set up games. They talk about their hobbies, that kind of stuff. And we have to have those. And it's amazing to see. There's so many college students that come in, and they don't know anybody in town.
Yeah.
They just know that they want to play something. They might not even know what they want to play. Yeah. And they come in, they meet friends, they become part of a community. They become bigger and better.
Yeah, I think that's the social interaction is difficult, I think, for a lot of people, and having the game as kind of something to centralize the focus on I think helps people kind of open up to,
Yes.
it's not just like, hi, I'm so and so and I like baseball. It's like, hey, we're all here to do this thing that we all really enjoy. And so
Right.
you automatically have like a little bit of like you said, a community, which I feel like I'm repeating what you're saying, but I think you're right. I think it's hard to make friends especially when you don't know anybody. And I think that's really good. So being that you're such a people business, talk about, I know that you've kind of had a pretty cool little pivot with the way that you've done your stuff. So talk about what you did when COVID hit, because really, you haven't been able to have games. So
No.
I want to learn a little more about that.
No, COVID hit all of us hard. And of course we closed while everybody was closed.
Sure.
When we were able to bring employees back, no customers, but employees back, what we did is we launched a new website. We
Awesome.
started from nothing at the beginning of COVID. And at the end, when we were able to open for retail only, we had a website. We added delivery, we added curbside, we made it so that people can shop, know what they want. Now they can order online and just come inside and pick it up. They're in the store for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know about that one.
Yeah, I mean, they get everything that they need and they can decide what exposure that they want.
Yeah.
That has been our biggest thing. Now, one of the things that we're having to work on is keeping those communities engaged and healthy. We want healthy communities because they make everything better. These guys are the reason that we're here.
I love that.
COVID has hit a lot. We haven't our name Clockwork Games and Events. Right now, we can't do the and events.
Yeah.
So that is unfortunate because we get that question every day. Every single day, there's almost every other customer comes in and asks, when can we play? When can we play? When can we play?
I think when things finally even out, you're going to be so busy. You may have to expand. So I'm just so excited about the fact that you guys are so about inclusivity because, so I have a theater degree. And I think that's one of the things that drew me to theater is that you immediately walk in and everybody just accepts you for who you are. And I think that in a lot of the gaming world, I think that's probably the same where, everybody's a little different, but hey, we all have this thing that we really love. And I think it's super cool that you were able to kind of take something that you were passionate about and you're able to turn it into something that fills back into your cup. Because I think a lot of people, when they start a business, they struggle with, like maybe it's not something that they super duper care about, but it's something that they can do to make money. It's kind of like you were able to fuse, hey, I want to start a business and I really enjoy doing this thing.
We all love it so much. It is fantastic. I consider every board game purchase educational. So, I'm not buying it for me. I'm buying it to know more. That's my excuse, at least.
Hey, so is that your favorite part? Is the going and the buying the games and learning about them? Or what's your favorite part of what you do other than people?
The board games, obviously, with our obsession with the 160 board games at our house, we're pretty much wanting to be involved with that. But again, I can't emphasize enough how important our communities are.
Sure.
And our players are amazing. And every community is different, right?
Yeah.
The Warhammer guys tend to be a little bit older. They get really into their hobby. There's a tournament every year that the Warhammer guys put on for charity for St. Jude's.
Yeah.
And they fill our entire store. The amount of models in that store, and it's so complicated. I don't know how they do it, but it is really cool. We've been able to do charity events, Dungeons and Dragons. We've been able to do charity events and
that's awesome.
Help the food bank. And now we've been focusing on small rescue places.
Yeah.
And trying to get them a little bit of cash. And at the same time, everybody's playing. These communities are really, really big on helping others.
Yeah.
I love them. They're so, I do. I'm so impressed with all of these players and communities and what they have done.
Yeah. What is one thing that you wish the average person knew about either your store or about gaming the way that we're talking about it right now? Because I feel like some people could get confused, like gaming, like Xbox gaming and board
Yeah,
gaming. So what's
it's,
one thing you wish people knew about the type of
it's,
gaming that your store supports?
yeah, video games are the one things we don't do. Just everything tabletop.
Yeah.
We do get a few calls about that, but no, it's not. I would say that we want people to know what we are and what we stand for. And it's important. I don't want to have a business that I can't get behind. I
Yeah.
don't want to get a business that's not supporting people. I don't want to have a business that just sells something and then leaves it and don't
Yeah.
be able to come back and follow through and be able to talk, give advice, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I really, really want to emphasize that as much as possible
Sure.
because
No, that
they're
makes a lot of
amazing.
sense. If you don't believe in it, you can't really
No,
do it
mm-mm,
in a sustainable way.
no. And also, I would say that learning game theory, the whole thing, they teach that in college now. Game
Wow.
theory is really important. It's about who and why people make decisions,
Yeah.
right? So every decision in a board game, it's like, okay, I did this, so now the next turn I need to do this. Or
Sure.
because I did this here, that's going to impact my stuff there. Right?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I mean, I've played a lot of games with
Mhm.
my husband, and you really have to think, and I think I really do believe it exercises your brain
Right.
with those critical thinking skills, because there's times where I'm like, I just don't have the brain power tonight, babe. I can't do that.
And
So how
that's why it's good that there's light games and heavy games.
yeah,
And just to go back to the educational things, we have worked with schools. There are several of our players that are so excited about their games and their teachers, and
yeah.
they bring them into groups and clubs
Oh, I love
and
that.
Dungeons and Dragons, Warhammer, all of that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how do you think most people find you? Because we were talking about how, like, kids come in from like for college and stuff, and I didn't know about you guys, so but until my husband told me about you. How do you feel like most of the community that you have finds you initially?
Well, usually from a kid standpoint, they're coming from their own stores in their own communities and
Okay.
they know what they're looking for, right?
Okay.
Magic the Gathering is a very, very big card game in our store.
Gotcha.
And people who are coming from others, they know that. They just search Magic the Gathering and they're going to get our store.
And they find you. That's cool.
Yes. And word of mouth is quite a big deal as
Yeah.
well because
That's really cool.
again, it's socializing, right? So
Yeah.
if your husband knows, which
Right.
he obviously does, I've talked to him many times, and if he knows, then he tells you, and then
Yeah.
you tell a friend, and then you realize that it's cheaper than going out,
Yep.
and it's a lot more fun, and you get
Yeah.
to stay at home with your cat,
Yeah.
and play all the games that you want, and
Yeah.
it's a really good thing.
So it's very much like, if kind
Yeah.
of community. That's super cool. I love it. It's kind of like underground, but not underground.
Well, you should see. It's pretty amazing because there's an organization called T Cubed on campus
Uh-huh.
that we work with. They're amazing group. They're having setbacks a little bit because of COVID,
Yeah.
right? Because of the playing in person and stuff like
Sure.
that. But like Dungeons and Dragons is huge. And we have people coming in and all they know is Dungeons and Dragons, but they search Dungeons and Dragons
Yeah.
or they had a friend or they went to T Cubed or
Sure.
they did all this kind of stuff. And then they find us and they come in and you're right, the store is big. We
It's
started,
huge.
yeah, we started at 800 square feet and now we're at 4,200. And that took us 13 months, which was way ahead of the business plan as far as going to a big store.
Yeah.
We found we ran out of space. We
Yeah.
just ran out of space and had to be the big ones. But
Yeah.
they'll come in just for dice. And
Yeah.
then they'll see all the rest of the opportunities here.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I think it's interesting, for people who didn't grow up playing those more in depth, because pretty much everything is in depth, even if it is a lighter game. That all of this exists, and it really opened up like this whole new world for me, because I've always kind of been, like fantasy stuff like that kind of person, and to find out that games like this exist or stores like this exist, I was like, this is genius.
Yes.
Because it provides a place for people. It's almost like, I kind of look at it sometimes as you're like that cool house that everybody goes and hangs out at, and plays the games. And I love that. I love that that's how it feels. And I hope that that's kind of what you're going for at the end of
That's
the
what
day.
I want to be. I want to be the cool house.
I love it.
Sounds fantastic.
So, is there anything that you as a business owner wish you could tell yourself when you first started back in 2010, like knowing what you know now about your business?
Well, I think that our main thing is, one, we can do it, right? We can
Yes.
do it. We just start small
Yeah.
in a very niche
Yep.
area,
Very
right?
niche.
And go for that. Also, the working with the communities has evolved
Okay.
since we started. Obviously, it's small. We're just trying to get a foothold in what's going on and everything.
Sure.
And now we can expand that. Now we have the personnel to work with those communities, because our staff is very diverse. And some of them are big Magic guys, some of them big board guys, some of them Warhammer guys, D&D. We have somebody for everything. And it took a long time to get that. Right?
Yeah.
Those guys don't just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And usually they're customers, right?
Yeah.
Because people are interested in playing and working where they have their hobby. And when you take it seriously and you are really into it and it's gung-ho, it all works out. But I do think building our staff, building the communities as much as we can, although quite frankly, they do a lot of that work themselves.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting. So it's really about kind of making sure that as a business owner, you put this term, put the right butts in the right seats. You get the people that you need on your team to kind of help you, not only, because you're a business, not only help you increase revenue, but also to help make that vibe that you're trying so hard to create. Because one person who really doesn't care can kind of mess everything up. So I like the idea that the people that you have are one of the most important things to you. And I love that.
We love our staff, and we definitely love our players. I mean, I really, it's interesting. As a business owner, you would think that we don't focus as much on just pushing things.
Sure.
We focus on creating that environment. So if that's the cool house,
yeah,
you know what? I never thought about it as a cool house. I'm going to run with that.
It's like you're the cool house in the neighborhood that everybody wants to hang out at, and I love it. I don't know. It's like somebody put on the pizza rolls. I'm just kidding.
Well, yes, and we did sell those. So people would stay 8 hours, right? I mean, it's not something that, you can go and stay for 30 minutes and play a game, or you could be in tournaments, or one of those tournaments last hours. And so we provided as much as possible so you're comfortable.
That's
and
awesome.
You're set. And that's why we want to get back to events.
Yeah.
Because the community needs a place to stay and play. And it's limited at houses.
Yeah.
You only have so much table space, or for Games Workshop, the Warhammer, you don't have the terrain, you don't have any, you can't just pick up what you need because you're at home, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That's probably really hard for a lot of your people, because I would think a lot of your people that might be one of their only ways to socialize, that they, that they do on a regular basis. And so that's probably, I bet you they're really, really looking forward to you guys being able to open back up.
I wish I had an answer as to when. As soon as we can, we'll be back up and running. We want it to be safe for our employees, but we also want to be safe for our customers.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, that's the reason why we put in curbside and
Yeah.
delivery and stuff like that. We really, really want people to be comfortable,
Hmm.
safe,
Yeah.
and happy, because
Yeah.
that's the whole point, right? I
Right.
mean, it's give a smile, have a good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, we kind of touch on this sometimes in these interviews. Do you ever feel, I know you have business partners, but do you ever feel like being a woman in business has hindered you here, or do you think that it's given you an advantage?
I don't think that it's hindered me at all. Before this, I worked at HP
Gotcha.
as the marketing manager. And I think sometimes in corporate, I felt that way.
Hmm.
But here with the store, again, people are so welcoming, and
Yeah.
it is a little bit male dominated, the gaming world. But what's happening is you're seeing more and more women. There's
That's
a
cool.
women's group for Dungeons and Dragons now.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's all women, and they rock.
That's
They're
awesome.
amazing.
So it
And
kind of gave you it kind of gave you the freedom, opening your store and owning your own business gave you the freedom to do the things the way you wanted to do them.
yes,
I like that.
yes,
I like
and
that a lot.
yes, and it's really a good time, and I really don't think that there's been anything, certainly with the business partners, certainly with staff and the customers, that
That's
I've
awesome.
never felt like, even when there's lots of guys, like almost all my staff are
Right.
men, never felt like there was an issue with that at all.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm super happy for you. So I guess before we kind of close out, is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you would like to tell people about what you do?
Well, I think again, we've touched on most of it. I think the most important thing is inclusive, to be inclusive. There you
Yeah.
go. I got that right. I got that one right.
Okay, it's been a
And
long day.
I think I want people to know what we have. I want people to know that it is not to be something that's so difficult to get into. A lot of
Sure.
times people come in and they're like, I want to play something. What can I play? How do I
Sure.
get started? How
Yeah.
do I meet people who will also, because people come in by themselves or a
Yeah.
family, and they want to be able to meet and greet all sorts of other people and play. And I think it's been it's always the message I want to put out.
Yeah.
I want to be the fun place, and I want people to smile so
Yeah.
much, but I also want to make sure people know that everyone's welcome.
That's a really good question. It kind of goes into, if someone, this is something I should have asked already, is if someone wants to get started, is how, in some kind of game, like say they don't really know what their thing is, can they kind of come in and can your people kind of help guide them to something
Yes.
that they might enjoy?
This is why I have a diverse staff, right?
Yeah.
Because anybody who comes in, one of us knows. Like
Yeah.
usually board games, it's me, but
Sure.
that's just, again, we've gone to that obsession already.
Right.
I'm going to talk about that. But somebody wants to get into Dungeons and Dragons. That is a very popular thing with non-nerdy conventional thinking, right?
Sure.
Because even though it's totally fantasy and
Yeah.
it's totally interesting, you can bring somebody in that doesn't know anything about it. So we'll show them the dice, we'll show them the minis, we'll show them the book
Yeah.
that maybe you should read in order to get an idea of how to character create.
Yeah.
Our guys will explain the pros and the cons. We'll also, of course, get them in touch with the communities, because
That's the
communities
cool
are
thing,
key.
I think, is getting people, helping people find the people,
Yes. And
That's
once we
super cool.
have events, that will be even bigger. But right now, those communities are strong. Those communities have, they have what it takes for sustainability. They
Yeah.
have what it takes to bring new people in. They're totally, even somebody who's been playing it for 25 years will be happy to talk to a new person. Because you know what? We all want them to game. We need
Yeah. I
more
mean,
people to play with. So we
yeah.
bring them all in.
It's like, come on, come
Yep.
on.
Exactly. That's right.
Well, I absolutely love your store, and that's why I
Thank
wanted
you.
to talk to you and let you kind of tell us a little bit more about what you do and who you guys are. And I appreciate you very much for
No
taking time
problem.
out to talk with me. I guess I just will say, everybody, all of the information about her business and the store is going to be in the post about the interview. And if you have any questions, reach out.
Thank you,
Bye.
honey. Bye.